Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a really striking report. It's called Diamonds in Africa, The Untold Truth.
And it's from the South Sudan grassroots movement, the SSGM. So this is their perspective, straight from the ground.
Exactly. Looking at the diamond trade in Africa, its history, where things stand now.
So our aim here is really to unpack what the SSGM is saying, understand their main arguments, what they feel is missing, and what they're actually demanding.
Okay, so right off the bat, the report establishes this core idea. Africa is just incredibly wealthy in diamonds, the purest form of treasure, they call it.
Yeah, they really hammer this point home, that for decades, Africa's produced more diamonds than anywhere else.
They mention specific places too, like Sierra Leone, Botswana, the Congo.
Right, saying these areas consistently produce these real, raw, top-quality diamonds.
It's about the sheer volume and quality, isn't it? They want that scale understood up front.
Absolutely. It's not just some diamonds, it's the dominant source. And that context, well, it's crucial for understanding their sense of grievance.
Which brings us to their next big point. This feeling of getting absolutely no recognition or benefit.
Yeah, they're quite direct about it. They say the global diamond market is full of these stones, but you just don't see the name Africa attached.
They argue African countries, African people, get no praise, no honor, no real acknowledgement that this wealth originates with them.
It's a stark image they paint. Africa treated like just a pit to be robbed, not a respected player.
It does make you think, doesn't it, about how resources are often disconnected from their origins in the global market.
Definitely. And you can see how that connects to wider historical narratives about resource extraction, that feeling of injustice.
And that feeling is clearly fueling their call to action now. It's ambitious.
It really is. They state they plan to confront the global diamond and gold markets
Okay.
directly.
And they're demanding, get this, anyone who bought or traded African diamonds or gold between 1960 and 2025 needs to report those assets for final verification, they say, and to, quote, account for your role in this long-standing injustice.
Wow. That's a massive undertaking they're calling for. The logistics alone are staggering.
Right. But the message is crystal clear. Accountability. They want a reckoning.
A historical accounting, essentially, trying to document what they see as decades of unfairness.
And they don't draw a line at 1960 either, for anything before that.
Yeah.
The tone gets even stronger. They say those activities are recorded, and the people involved are basically heading to the judgment of history and the courts of justice.
So they're framing it as outright robbery, essentially, that happened while, the world looked away.
Exactly. It connects the past exploitation directly to the present situation they're challenging.
Suggesting those historical actions still have consequences today that need addressing. It's all part of the same story for them.
But despite outlining all this betrayal and looting, the report ends on a surprisingly powerful note of resilience.
Oh, yeah. How so?
They state very firmly that Africa has not been broken, that it's still strong, powerful, and unshaken.
Setting up a contrast.
Totally. And their final message is this demand. Africa has always given, and now it demands justice, followed by love the world, respect Africa.
That's quite a closing statement. It really underlines their determination, that blend of historical grievance and present strength. They believe in Africa's worth.
So if we boil it down, this SSGM report argues Africa's got immense diamond wealth. It's been the main source for ages.
But it's been shut out from the benefits and the recognition in the global trade. That's the core imbalance they see.
And now they're demanding accountability for it all.
Which leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? When you consider a diamond's journey, from the ground to a ring, what do these claims from the SSGM mean for how we understand who owns global resources? And what about historical accountability? It certainly gives you a different perspective to mull over.